Welcome to the top 10 most pulled comic books for September 25th, 2024. I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love the daily comic book content and you think you might like me helping you make decisions of what comic books to buy, you came to the right place. Hit that subscribe button. Where do I get the information from, guys? Well, I get this from LeagueOfComicGeeks.com. You guys can create your own pull list here on LeagueOfComicGeeks.com. It's absolutely for free. It doesn't cost you anything. This is a great site to let you know each week what comic book is coming out. Now, this is not definitive sales. Like I said again, this is what people are putting on their pull list. And I like to talk about what people are most excited about for that particular comic book week. So with that being said, we're going to get started right now. So we always start with the books that are on the outside looking in, and there's 5 of them. And the first one that we're talking about today is Harley Quinn. This is issue 43. This is a 32-page comic for the price of $5. This book does have 3,484 pulls. It's written by Tini Howard, and the art is done by Sweeney Boo. Now, listen, when it comes to Harley Quinn, I have not read this comic book in quite some time. Maybe when the new initiative starts with DC All In, I might give it another try, but it's been a long time since Harley has been a book that I want to read. Are you guys reading it? Let me know. Our second book that's on the outside looking in goes to NYX. This is issue 3. I was hoping this wouldn't be on this list at all. This one is 32-page comic for the price of $4. This one does have 3,506 pulls, and it's written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, and the art is done by Francisco Mortarino. When it comes to this comic, it looks like we're exploring all the different characters that are going to be on this roster, and usually I like this type of thing, but for the most part I do not like the characters that are in this roster. Really, the only character I like is, I would say, Laura, and then the other one might be Sophie Cuckoo, but that's about it. And when it comes to the X titles, I am now seeing the direction of these particular stories, and NYX is one of those books that I'm not going to be continuing to read. Our third book that's on the outside looking in goes to Zatanna, Bring Down the House. This is issue 4, DC Black Label, 32 pages for the price of $5.99. There is a cardstock cover for this one. It has 3,568 pulls. This one is written by Marco Tamaki, and the artwork on this one is Javier Rodriguez, which great artwork in this comic book. We get to see a little bit of the history of Zatanna, as she doesn't like to use her magic anymore. She calls them tricks. She's worked at this low-level hotel in Las Vegas, and now all of a sudden we got all these magic people and demon people coming after her, and there's bunnies being thrown in her face. And now in this issue, it looks like John Constantine will be entering the mix. Pretty good read. I definitely recommend this one. Our fourth book that's on the outside looking in goes to Wolverine Revenge, the Red Band Edition, issue 2. We'll find out if the regular edition later on in this countdown actually makes its appearance, but I think people are getting keen on, you know, do I buy both? Do I buy one or the other? There's not really that much of a difference, right? This one is 28 pages for the price of $6. This one does have 3,637 pulls. Obviously, this one is done by Greg Capullo, and this one is written by Jonathan Hickman. Yeah, guys, so I think a lot of people were really highly anticipating this book, and I think the artwork delivered when it came to Wolverine himself. Some of the other characters, maybe not so much, and the story wasn't, like, groundbreaking, right? So I think people were a little bit disappointed with that first issue. Does the second issue make a rebound? Let's hope so. But when you compare, I would say, Jonathan Hickman's other title, Aliens versus Aliens versus Avengers, that was a way better story than this one. So we'll see where things go from here. And our last book that's on the outside looking in goes to another mutant book, and this one is X-Force issue 3, legacy numbering 293, 28 pages for the price of $4. This book does have 3,703 pulls, written by Geoffrey Thorne. The art is done by Marcos To. Now, obviously, we're going to get a different guest star in every single one of these X-Force issues. You get to see them go on these type of one-and-done missions. I don't know. I don't know where I really stand on this book. I'm really on the fence with it. I don't know if this is my type of roster or my type of writing style. I think the art looks kind of cool. I'm really on the fence about this one. I want to know your guys' thoughts on X-Force at this point. Officially kicking off the top 10 with The Flash. This is issue 13, 32 pages for the price of $4. This one is it always just hangs around The Flash, right? This book has 4,550 pulls, written by Simon Spurrier. The art is done by Ramon Perez. In this book, it looks like, you know, Barry Allen, he's been to the ends of the multiverse and back, and now he runs into a danger unlike he's never encountered before, right? Yeah, sure. And not only is the fate of the Speed Force at hand, but all of the heroes hangs in the balance as well. I feel like we've heard that story before. I don't know what's going on with the Flash right now. However, it does hold strong in top 10 most pulled. It's always right there, you know, just about to fall out. And then when you think it's done, it kind of brings itself back in. We'll see what happens with DC All In. Are you guys reading The Flash? If you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. Grabbing onto that number 9 spot, we got the Avengers Annual. This is issue 1. 32 pages for the price of $5. This one's written by Derek Landy, and the art is done by Salvador Larroca. So if you read the Infinity Watch story that's been taking place in all of the annuals through the Marvel Universe, this is that conclusion to it, the finale. And I'm very curious to see if you read this one, if you'll need to understand everything that's going on, because based off of the description here is you have the Infinity Stone bearers brought together for the first time. And so if you think the stones were dangerous, what happens when you get the stone when you get those bearers together, right? I don't know. We'll see. I might pick this one up just to see how this story ends, because I read the first one. I read a couple of the other ones after that. Then I dropped off, but Thanos is in this one, so it could be fun. Number 8, we have Titans. This is issue 15, 32 pages for the price of $4, written by Tom Taylor, and the art is done by Lucas Mayer. This book has 5,514 pulls to it. Listen, when it comes to this book, I think this is the end of Tom Taylor's book run on Titans, or maybe there might be one more. I'm not sure. We're getting close to that DC All-In stuff, so we'll have to see what happens with it. I just haven't been a real fan of Tom Taylor's run on Titans. It started off weak. Then you had the whole Beast World situation happen, and that was actually really good. And then we had this Raven story. So not my favorites, but, you know, people are always fans of Titans. And I'm not going to lie, when John Layman gets onto the book, I'll definitely check it out and see if the story improves. Number 7, we have Green Arrow. This is issue 16, 32 pages for the price of $4. This book has 5,712 pulls. It's written by Joshua Williamson. The art is done by Sean Zacchaeus. Dude, I killed that name. Anyway, when it comes to this book, it's tied into Absolute Power, and this is one of the strongest Absolute Power tie-ins that there actually is, because Green Arrow is really working with Amanda Waller in this, and the only reason why he is so his family can stay safe. Well, things have gone south based off of what happened in the last issue. And now Ollie looks like he is going to be fighting, I think, which is called Dr. Bright. And the last issue was just awesome because you got to see the Arrow family fight on some like fighter plane and just doing all kinds of great stuff. And just seeing this cast of characters just makes this comic fun to read. So definitely a recommend on my part. Are you guys reading this Green Arrow series? Taking a dip on this week's countdown is Action Comics issue 1069. This book has been a top 5 book, and this week it is number 6. 36 pages for the price of $5. This book has 6,980 pulls. It is written by Gail Simone, and the penciler here is Eddie Burrows. This book is about a story about an alien invasion that's been happening, and it's a Silver Age type of story, and Superman is going to do, I guess, like some kind of arena battle or something like that that's going on. So yes, we've seen these types of stories before, but there's nowhere tied to what's going on in the DC universe as of right now. There's also been a backup story in here with Rainbow Rowell, which is really interesting, as Lois Lane is the boss, and, you know, Clark Kent is not used to handling, you know, I guess, office duty or of her being the boss of Clark in work. So it's definitely a challenging situation for him. Overall, the book is pretty good. I don't think it's as strong as it was with the whole Brainiac Queen and all that other stuff, but it is an interesting read and something different to take you away from everything that's going on in DC right now. Top 5. Here we go. These next 5 books are some heavy hitter books, but number 1, I don't think is really a surprise, right? We'll talk about it. Number 5 is Uncanny X-Men number 3. Uncanny X-Men, you would think he has a potential of being number 1 when you hear that title, but not these days, guys. It doesn't quite hit. Legacy numbering 703, 28 pages for the price of $5. This book has 7,868 pulls, pretty solid. Another book written by Gail Simone. The art is done by Dave Marquez. Art is nice. There's good emotion in this comic book. The cast of characters is where it's at when it comes to the X book. When you have like Gambit, you have Jubilee, you have Nightcrawler, you got Rogue, and you got Wolverine in there, right? But now you got some extra mutants in here. Who are these characters, right? One character in here is the name of Calico, which technically she's not a mutant for some reason, but she's in this book and I like her the best. And then you got like this Death Dream and you got this Ember character. So there's these different characters in here, and are they gonna make the book? Is Gail Simone gonna have a good balance between the characters here that we know and love, or is she gonna focus on her new mutants that she creates? And then who is the bad guy in this book, what they're about, why did she take over the X Mansion? All that stuff is still yet to be determined. I think out of all the X books, I think this one has the best and brightest potential, and so maybe that's why they gave her the Uncanny X-Men. So we'll see, guys. We shall see. Coming in at number 4, and this book is always real popular no matter what, but I wonder if it's the numbering and the positioning that makes this comic book in the top 5 this week. It goes to Saga. This is issue 69. That's right, guys. It's got 8,963 pulls. Written by Brian K. Vaughan, and the art is done by Fiona Staples. Listen, Saga is not as intriguing to me as it once was. It's lost its momentum, but it always does something to surprise you, go outside of the box, and this cover is something that's outside of the box a little bit that you would not expect for them to put on the, you know, comic book stands. Now, I wonder what goes on in this comic book, which will be interesting, because the only description that it says is old allies explore new positions. So, again, if you've read Saga before, this book does not hesitate to push the boundaries. Coming in at number 3, when do you ever see this book at number 3, guys? Hardly ever. This is The Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue 58, coming in at number 3. Legacy numbering 952. The price of this comic is $5. This book, at number 3, has 9,848 pulls. What beats this book at number 2 and number 1? You'll soon find out. Written by Zeb Wells, and the art is done by John Romita Jr. Listen, I think this is the book where I guess it's supposed to be like the bloodiest book ever, Spider-Man versus Tombstone, stuff like that. I don't know how great this book can be with that John Romita Jr. artwork, because he just does mostly facial expressions up close and personal. Not the best of, art when it comes to Spider-Man these days, but we'll see. We'll see how it delivers. And if you've collected every issue up until this point, guys, we're almost done with this stuff. Coming in at number 2, and the king has been dethroned. I don't think this book has ever been nothing but number 1 on the countdown. And number 2 is Detective Comics, issue 1089. This is the finale for this series. 40 pages for the price of $5. This book has 9,916 pulls. It didn't quite break the 10,000 mark. Written by Ram V, and the art is done by Gulliam March. This is it. If you guys have read this entire run when it's come to Detective Comics, it's about to end, and then next you're going to get Tom Taylor. How do you guys feel about that? Let me know in the comments below. So this book has done the impossible, guys. This book has beat them all. Action Comics, Saga, Amazing Spider-Man, Detective Comics, Uncanny X-Men, all in one week. And this is an Elseworlds book. So coming in at number 1 goes to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 9. This book is 28 pages for the price of $5. This book has 14,502 pulls. It dominated those other books, man. So congratulations to Jonathan Hickman here and Marco Checchetto for putting out an outstanding book, beating out all these other heavy hitter books that might be out on different weeks that usually win, but the stars aligned and it killed all those books, right? This book is on fire right now, as it is introducing the Sinister Six characters like Black Cat. You wind up getting to see Kingpin, Kraven the Hunter, Mr. Negative, Mole Man, Mysterio. You wind up getting to see all these different characters here, and it's just great just to see the direction here. Some may say it's a little bit slow, but they're doing a great job at some character building, world building, and I really appreciate that. And the artwork here is second to none. So Jonathan Hickman, do whatever it is that you need to do to keep making this book continue to climb and get better, because I'm taking this over regular Spider-Man any day. And now it's time for Mike Spider Slayer's sleeper pick of the week, and that's going to go to Venom War Zombiotes. This is issue 2. This is a 32-page comic for the price of $4. This book does have 1,535 pulls on it, and it's written by Cavan Scott, and the art is done by Juan Jose Reap. This book was a lot of fun. You don't even have to read the freaking Venom War to understand what goes on in this comic. The first issue had a bunch of zombiotes, which is just like little zombie like goo slabs that are infecting the human population. It's like a zombie book, and they affect people, and then the people bite other people, and then they become zombiotes, and then it's up to our cast of characters to stop this invasion that's going on. And the cast of characters that are in here are Hellcat, Patsy Walker, Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, and you get Shocker in here, Speed Demon. It's a very comical book in very many ways as well. So if you read like Nick Spencer's run on like Superior Foes of Spider-Man, you can kind of expect between that and a horror book, and the art is actually spectacular. So this is definitely a sleeper pick that I think people might have passed on issue 1, and you might be able to find that one on the stand. So get that one, get this one, and you might have a fun story in your hands. So there you have it, Webheads. There are the top 10 most pulled comic books of the week. Were you surprised? And if there wasn't anything on this list, is there something that's catching your eyes, right? So leave me those comments below. And as always, guys, there's more content right here for you to click on. Remember, support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always read those comics so we can have great comic conversation. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on New Comic Book Day.